Yes, good morning everybody. I hope you are having a good morning. Today 10th of May. So we'll start off with the strength meter. Today we want to see the strongest symbols today with the ones which we are going to trade. And so far we do have here, this keeps oscillating. We have the British pound, and then we have being the strongest. Then we have the weakest being Swiss franc. We also have Japanese yen being the most weakest. So trading a combination of these two. So we have this combination. We'll trade either a combination of New Zealand dollar and the Swiss franc, or New Zealand dollar and the Japanese yen, or British pound and Swiss franc, or it should be British pound and Japanese yen. So that's based on the strength meter. If it's based on the trend, then we'll consider CHF JPY a strong buy. We'll consider CAD CHF, we have a strong buy. We also have CAD JPY where we have an active uptrend. We have USD CAD, an active downtrend. We have Swiss franc, an active uptrend. Then we have Australian dollar Swiss franc, we have an active uptrend. We have all these, the AUDs, these active uptrends. And then we have British pound, New Zealand dollar, British pound, Australian dollar, we have British pound, Canadian dollar. All this we have an active downtrend. Then we have Euro CHF where we have an active uptrend. So those are the only charts where we are seeing that there's good trends or there's strength there. So if you are to trade today, just ensure you are trading symbols that have active, we are in an active uptrend, or where there's strength to it. Don't just trade any symbol. So only enter trades, only enter pairs where we have an active trend. If there's no trend, there should be strength to that symbol. So we move on. Let's see now what we have on the individual symbols. We'll start with the Euro USD. Sorry. Let's start off with the Euro USD. So Euro USD so far, we've seen price continue to the upper side. We expected a sell. If you can remember, we had some trend line which ran all the way from this point like this. Previously we had a resistance here, we had a resistance there, we had a there, and as I'm speaking now, the price is around the same place where we had a resistance previously. That should be here. So if the price for this trend line, that is by the end of the current 4 hours, if the price does not close beyond this trend line, then that could mean heading to the lower side. So we are basically just going to wait for some bounce from that point so that we pick a sell position. We expect this up to maybe this point. Just look at it like this, up to this level here. So if the price, should the price successfully close beyond this trend line, then that could mean we are continuing to the upper side. So just a break above, a retracement, and then that would mean we are continuing up, most probably up to this point or up to this point. So something like this could happen. The price may continue up, then it may retrace down before we see an active move to the upper side. So this is on the bullish side. If the price is to go up, then some, but if the price is to continue down, then we expect maybe a pullback back to below that trend line, then some retracement, then a continuation to the lower side. So the retracement should happen up to maybe the same trend line we just went below. This is what could happen, which means this should be a good place to consider looking for us. So let's see what we have on the next symbol. We look at GBPUSD. GBPUSD so far, we went below some good level. We went below some support. and this is how I'm looking at it. I had a trend line here, and then I also had a shape. So this is like some converging wedge formation which was broken. There's this coming back to the same place, but it couldn't reach this level. So after this move to the lower side, we have a support here where this should be the correct place to look for a sell from. So basically today and maybe in the course of this week, we do expect a sell within this range, and that sell should take price up to this point. So we had some support here, we had a support which was broken, and then there's this retracement. So this is the correct place to look for a sell from. Chart now, you should be expecting a sell while the price is within this range. So the next symbol we have is USDJPY. So USDJPY so far, we are upwards, but we are in a shape. These two, these are very good shapes. So the reason I keep focusing so much on these shapes is because they give you the correct entry. Like, you'll find yourself entering trades with more precision. Like if you had this, if you knew this was a shape, then you should also be knowing that this could be a very good place to sell from. So we had some resistance previously here, a resistance here, we had a resistance here, and then we had a support. So should the price fail to break beyond the upper trend line, that is, if the price does not go beyond the trend line, that should give us the correct place we want to pick a sell from. So as it is now, we are simply just waiting for a good sell signal. We want price to like bounce off from this trend line so that we pick a sell position up to this level. So we'll move at least what we have on our next symbol. We look at Brent oil. Brent oil is here. So this commodity actually closed beyond the resistance we had yesterday, because if you can remember, we actually said that following this gap, which was this, the price was supposed to continue upwards. So after this gap, the price was supposed to continue up to this point, where if it went above, so that's exactly what happened. The price basically closed beyond this level, it came back, and this means this should be the correct place we want to buy from. So as it is now, what this should actually tell you is that Brent is somehow gaining value. So we do expect Brent to keep on rising as long as it remains above the zone which I've drawn. So while the price is above this zone, expect it to continue upwards. Simply wait for some pullback, then you pick a buy position. Expect that buy to take price much higher. So as it is now, we do expect a continuation up to this point, where we expect this gap to be filled, the gap which we had previously. If the price can successfully fill this gap, that is, the price can move from this point up to this point, then that could be some good sign that we may be recovering. So as it is now, still we are upwards, but only up to this point. So I'm going to add some indicators here. I'm going to add the alligator indicator, this one, you'll see it, that one, you can see upwards. I'm also going to add ADX. You can see that we are actively upwards. What this simply means is you should be able, as it is now, keep looking for buy orders. Expect those positions to push price up to this point. So we'll move forward to our next symbol. We'll look at this SP500. SP500, we have some resistance where the price is now. This one we can see previously. Then as I'm speaking now, we also do have a resistance here, which means should the price break above, we should be able to wait for some retracement so that we pick a buy position. So this should be the correct place you want to pick a buy from. If the price successfully crosses above the line which I've drawn, this red line, then that could be a very good indication that we are continuing to the upper side. So we'll simply just sit back or break beyond, then a retracement, so that we pick a buy position in line with the current trend. So this is why I'm insisting on a buy, because we do active uptrend from this point. There's some trend. If you add the ADX indicator, you can also see that there is some active uptrend. So we do expect upper side. So we'll move forward to our last symbol, which is gold. Gold pulled back, it came back up to the resistance. This is the correct place. It pulled back up to this point. We are around the same place which was used previously as a resistance. So we have a resistance. We do have a resistance. Then this break, we have the first retracement as a support. So this should give us the correct place to pick a buy from. If you want to trade now, this should be the correct place to look for a buy from. I'm basically saying that you're supposed to buy gold now. Buy gold, expect that buy to take price to the upper side. So the least place you expect price to this point. If it pushes above this level, expect it to proceed much higher. So as it is now, the two indicators, the ADX, we have an uptrend. The alligator, we have an uptrend. Then we've just gone above. This means we are still somehow to the upper side. So thank you very much. It brings us to the end of today's webinar. If you are interested in trading strength, then you can still check this. You can leave it here temporarily. So trade a combination of these two or these two. So thank you very much. That should be the end of today's webinar. We meet again tomorrow. See you. Sorry, there's one more thing which I have not mentioned. I have not mentioned that if you are trading stocks, that is if you are trading the NSE or NASDAQ or MOEX, then you can now do that without any commission. So this is an offer which is there by you can make use of it, trade those stocks without being charged. So thank you. See you.